Hi, spots and cheap pops, ladies and gentlemen. This is Silicon Steve Alley, and I am joined by Vladi Dadi, loving the party aspect of this podcast and this YouTube channel. We're talking the world of professional wrestling, but we're going to start talking about the biggest storyline in all of pro wrestling today right now. Multiple matches going to be involving it coming into WrestleMania, and what is becoming one of the best built WrestleManias we have had, and possibly since WrestleMania 31, if anyone remembers that. That was had Sting and Triple H, which was a great build. You had the whole thing with Brock Lesnar, Roman. You had a couple of other really good builds in that particular WrestleMania. Really good WrestleMania. Of course, Seth Rollins and Randy Orton. This one, you're seeing a lot of those kind of builds as well. And even the mid-card you're starting to get excited about. But we're going to talk about the Bloodline. Jey Uso this past week makes his big decision, Vladi Dadi. Not too much of a surprise to anybody else. But I love the way that they're doing it. Jey Uso turns on Sami Zayn, if you want to call it that. Or does he just stay with his brother, the way you can look at it? Looks like he was walking away from his brother, turns, super kicks Sami Zayn after apparently accepting Sami Zayn and was to join Sami Zayn against the Bloodline. Of course, we were so silly. And as they're beating down Sami Zayn, who comes to the rescue, ladies and gentlemen? The biggest babyface in the company, not named Sami Zayn. Cody Rhodes. And we're excited. We have booked Cody Rhodes to be on the show just before WrestleMania, so keep an eye on that. Cody Rhodes will be on this particular show. Are you excited, Vladi Dadi?
I'm extremely excited. When you wrote to me and told me that we got Cody, I was like really impressed by your connections here.
Same guy I'd booked Macho Man Randy Savage to.
Don't throw away that number.
No, the guy's amazing.
It's incredible.
Especially considering Savage is dead and has been so for almost a decade.
It's amazing. And, you just see how far his reach goes.
Yeah, well, the Macho Madness is a power that was never really understood. Let's be real for a second. Jey Uso then follows up turning on Sami on Monday. We go over to Friday, Vladi Dadi, and
let me ask you a quick question. On Friday, what do you think Jey said into Sami's ear? He had a moment there, and Sami sort of reacts.
I didn't see that. This Friday?
That was when right before he turned. He's holding Sami close, and he's saying something to him, and you could the ground microphone almost is getting it.
I think he said he was with him. I remember what you're talking about. He said, "I'm with you. I'm with you." So, and Sami was surprised because he took his side. I don't think he was expecting that. That's what I think it was. I don't think it's going to be anything that it's pertinent to the storyline.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just wondering if there might have been another little level there. But when he super kicked Sami, that place just dropped. It was just shock and awe, even though we knew it was coming.
I was cheering.
See, there you go. And you know what, man? What it comes down to is Jey had to go and make this decision because otherwise he's going to serve up Jimmy as a sacrificial lamb to Roman. Can't do that. He knows what he's capable of. He went through it. And this is where this Bloodline storyline is on a different level. And I'll go as far as saying this is probably the greatest storyline in wrestling history. This is how impressed I am with this thing at this point. Watching how Cody Rhodes has become intertwined with it. This is otherworldly, man, because now you've wrapped up four different how many different titles are involved here? It's incredible what's going on. Everything this feud literally means everything.
Yeah. You've had comedy, you've had drama. You've had really good matches. Again, none of them are going to be Meltzer 5-star matches, if you care.
Well, if they were in Japan, he would then...
They'd be 17 stars if they were in Japan.
Oh.
Sami Roman would have gotten 16 and a half stars.
There you go. If it was in the Tokyo Dome.
If it was El Generico, it would have gotten 2 more stars because it's Sami Zayn. Meltzer was like, fuck them.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's ever been, because this is the thing. The Jey Uso Roman Reigns has been really the beginning of Roman's big run. I know he had a victory and a couple title defenses prior to starting that program with Jey Uso, but that was really the biggest. That was the beginning of this Roman Reigns run, if you remember correctly, and it was during the pandemic. So there weren't fans. It was during the Thunderdome days, really. And what they have created with Jey Uso and now what they've done with Jimmy Uso, it's just been off the charts in terms of really maximizing everyone's potential. And we were talking about it in pre-production. Let's be real for a second. This is a faction where the sum are greater than the parts. Four Horsemen were like that. The NWO was like that. I'm not going to sit here and tell you Evolution was like that. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that even Degeneration X was like that. I don't think the sum are greater than the parts in DX, in any version of DX, with the exception of just after HBK left, when Triple H took over, before Triple H became who he was. This, with Roman Reigns and the Usos, who already had Hall of Fame credentials going into this storyline, they actually have made the Bloodline as a collection one of the greatest factions of all time. And it's not even close. And if you don't believe me, listen to this and try to disagree with this. Paul Heyman, and look, GOATs, that's subjective, so I don't want to go there. But you can make an argument for Paul Heyman being the GOAT. You can make an argument for the Usos being the GOAT in WWE history. And now you can start making the argument that Roman's the GOAT in WWE history. You can make these arguments because they've all done things that no one has done before. Paul Heyman has been at the top of the card now for a decade. He was already a legend for what he did with ECW, for what he did as a manager with the Dangerous Alliance and in WCW and Turner. He was already a legend for his work in WWE between 2003 and, say, 2008. And then he comes back with Lesnar, and the guy is walking out with the world champion at WrestleMania more than any manager in the history of WWE. So, yeah, Heyman's a GOAT. Roman's a GOAT. The Usos are a GOAT. And the thing is, collectively, they've never been better than what they're doing right now. They're all doing their very best work. That's why the Bloodline, the sum greater than the parts, and the parts are pretty goddamn great. So that's why this is such an amazing storyline. Jay cuts a promo Friday night saying, I didn't want to kick Sami in the face. I had to because Sami's selfish. And now he's pissed off at Sami. And he's saying, what you want me to do? This was the man. I came out of the womb. I was in the womb with this man. This was my brother. This is my ride or die no matter what. And to your point, Jimmy would have felt the wrath of Roman. And Jey doesn't want Jimmy to feel that wrath because Jimmy felt that wrath early in Roman's reign. But let's not forget where this started. This started because Roman Reigns abused, beat down, and manipulated Jey Uso to become the right-hand man. So much so, he took Jimmy Uso, who had on one leg, beat him to the point where Jimmy Uso was begging for Roman to stop. And Roman started taking him down to the point where Jimmy actually had to say, I quit in his own Jey had to say, I quit his own I quit match to save his brother. Jimmy famously came back on his day when he came back from injury and said he's not going to be anybody's bitch. Ironically, the biggest bitch in the Bloodline right now is you, Jimmy Uso. You're the guy who's been the biggest bitch, not your brother. And you can tell Jey Uso still has problems with Roman Reigns. You can tell by the interaction he had with Paul Heyman.
Oh, they don't trust Heyman at all. Neither of those two guys.
Nor should they. All they got to do is watch the replays. So that's the key here. This is so damn good. And yes, you're looking at it where you're going to have the Usos, in my view, you're going to have the Usos versus Roman, Solo, and Heyman. And you're going to have that Bloodline Civil War after WrestleMania. Because I have a newsflash. I think Roman's dropping this title at WrestleMania. Probably to Cody, but who the hell knows how popular Sami is at this point. But I think it's probably going to be Cody because Cody's popularity has not waned. Thank you so much for listening and watching High Spots and Cheap Pops. Hit the subscribe button, and please comment, share. Let's build this community, and thank you for getting us over 100 subscribers.